8 carbs.
8? Fuck, that's not so bad.
So,
well, no, this is only 5.
That's probably the better one for you.
Yeah.
I could be a basic bitches over here.
I don't know. How many carbs is in this, though? Is this gonna end good or bad?
That's gonna fuck your dicks up. For sure.
Oh, fuck! Those aren't dicks, those are angel wings. YouTube says they're angel wings.
It's a pair of cockerballs for sure.
Fuck you, look at it, I got it! Woo! Woo!
So let's talk about what was your motivation? What made you feel good about making your first case video?
Well, it turns out I had a lot of shit to do, and I'm a pretty lazy guy. So the best feeling was really that I got off my ass, got into the garage, and I had more fun. When I'm working on something, I am probably, if I had like a pissed level 1 to 10, I'm operating at an 8 or a 9 pissed level regardless. There's never the tool that I want. It's always across the garage. I'm, whatever. So I found when I was recording, I was at like a 2. It was fun.
It is nice and it is cathartic to do. And I totally agree with what you're saying. So like once upon a time, when I was putting my time in at the jail, and not serving, I was actually, unfortunately, an officer. So when I was in there, like I never left angry because there was always something that required me to have to like defend myself, or I'd have to put somebody in solitary, or I'd have a combative come into booking or whatever. And as much as that job was crap, at the same time, I never left that place feeling any kind of angst.
Yeah.
Because, now I'm a corporate shill, just sitting behind a desk making a bunch of like decisions that could change the lives of a lot of people. And it's not as fulfilling.
And I'm moving shit around in an Excel file.
Yeah, I'm done with pivot tables, man.
Yeah.
It's not even okay.
Not me. I use them every day. Love them.
No.
Every time. I had a dream about making love to a pivot table, and I couldn't look at my wife in the eyes for the next 24 hours.
But she looked deep in yours, though.
Every night.
It was fun. What are you thinking about? Pivot table.
Pivot tables. Pivot tables. Keeping my fucking job.
He's desperately hanging on and trying not to start a shotgun. And that's not full disclosure, that's not my saying. That's his saying.
No, it's not my saying. That's AVE's saying.
Is that AVE's saying?
AVE said start a shotgun, and it made me laugh so hard I pooped just a little bit, and then it made it somehow into the deep recesses of my gray matter.
And now I've probably said it at least twice in inappropriate situations at work that I know at least one person out of that group has taken and then passed on. So good job, AVE. It's 7 degrees of starting a shotgun.
It's true. So it'll slowly make it around the world, and who knows? Maybe he can credit Kevin Bacon, and then that's how we're all connected.
Boom! Oh, there it is. There it is. One day Kevin Bacon will watch an AVE video, and he'll be like,
then he'll start a shotgun.
Like, what date was this? This is way before I heard start a shotgun.
Wow!
How many times can we say start a shotgun in a video?
Footloose. Boom!
And so where did you and you picked up your I guess going back to the initial case video to get that bucket off. So you I think you like took like 3 different things and put it together to get that to work.
Yeah, Project Farm. He had a penetrative lubricant video in which I don't think the Seafoam was the best, but that Seafoam Deep Creep was one of the better ones. And it turns out, it was available at one of our local kind of farm shops.
Nice.
So while I was doing that, I picked up one of those, dug the old propane torch out, because in the end of that penetrating lubricant video,
I'm just loving the fact that you keep saying
penetrating lubricant. Yeah. It's not the first time I've ever said that. I said it a few times in college, after the pain got too high. I mean, we both rubbed the back of our bald heads at the same time with the same hand.
Shit.
Is that weird?
That is-
we both went up and
it's,
did the like, oh.
Oh man, talking about it was the other guy's bowl. Mirroring neurons immediately took over, and we had to
engage autopilot. No, but yeah. So then AVE fucking sidetracked.
'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Thanks, Pogo.
El Grey Hawk.
1-734-765-37.
I wanted you to get it all. The string was longer
I
than
tried.
that.
It's way longer. Sorry, go ahead.
I thought, man, what? You can't remember what you have for dinner 3 days ago. I don't know, but I can remember a 24 character.
Because my goal is to eventually make that my password. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a combination idiotic and amazing in the perfect mix of the fucking.
It's the same on my luggage.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd be surprised at what my router password is. Oh god. Penetrating loop. AVE also did a thing on penetrative lubricants.
Oh my god.
And
he's using the formal penetrative. I can't. But
is that the post formal or the present tense past formal or the
present?
It's the. He made a video on it too, and in the end of both of them, they were kind of just like, you know what? If I could just use a blowtorch. So it was like, okay, well, how about I do both? And so, it was actually what you didn't see in the video. I didn't record it. Was like 4 hours previously of having just grinding it, trying to get those unfrozen. And I finally got the one side. And in order to kind of condense the video down, also it was the first one. I wasn't sure that I was going to run and go get the camera.
Sure.
And I thought, hell with it. So you're really seeing the tail end of an entire evening of trying to get those pins out of that bucket.
No, it was it was crazy. It was fun to watch. Like you cut it in a way that kept it engaging the entire time. Which, well, hell, AV watched it and basically said the same thing. It was had good continuity. But like
had to get lights.
You can't. Yeah, just lights. The lights,
The lights are horrible. Turns out putting the flashlight in one of your 3 or 4 chins doesn't fucking work very well.
But full disclosure, it was pretty good for like a GoPro.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. And yeah, all that was recorded on a GoPro 7 with no extra audio hookup. I mean, and the GoPro is not notorious for focusing. Like,
no,
it's pretty. I mean,
it kept on task.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It has kind of one field of focus,
Sure.
which I was worried about.
Which is all up to X.
Yes.
Whatever X is. I don't know.
I don't know.
Did you ever figure out... Sorry.
Bless you.
Oh, did you figure out... Because Nipper was asking. So did you ever figure out... So what did the blowtorch do? Did you ever figure that out?
No, and I still don't. And I thought...
Because I'm thinking blowtorch is expanding metal, not contracting it. I would think you would want to contract it to get it out of there.
I would agree. My guess, sitting here as, a human being that occasionally thinks about this kind of bullshit, is that the expansion just knocked loose the freeze that the rust had put on. So as it kind of, formed over time, it just naturally kind of froze itself in there. But the expansion... maybe the expansion was enough to break the freeze, or it fucking didn't do any of that, and it just... I haven't weighed one of those pins, but it's for sure 2 pounds, I would guess.
Okay.
Maybe 3, I don't know. How much, maybe like a thermal engineer out there could answer that, of like 3 pounds in a cylinder of steel. How much BTU, thermal force at least, let's just say, do you need to put into that to make a significant amount of thermal expansion? I don't know if 5 minutes with the blowtorch did a damn thing in the end.
Sure.
Because that's a relatively large piece of metal to heat up.
Yeah. And especially it's dense.
It's super dense.
That's going to take extra long to heat anything past the outside surface, right?
Yeah.
We know a little bit about a lot of stuff, but gee, sometimes a little bit is a little bit. So I'm thinking in my head.
Yeah, fuck.
Thanks, I like to watch little people struggle.
Oh, you moved it away.
You're my bro. I'll give it to you.
You're a gentleman and a scholar. Let's see if we can do this again.
Let's spread that around.
You know a little bit about everything, but blank.
Oh God, I'm just waiting for this schmoo all over. Nice,
Fuck
man.
you.
Both times.
Pretty good.
Good, man. All right, but you know we know like a very little bit about a lot of stuff, and there's certain things we know more about, but just a little bit, just because we get bored and we both have that I don't know ADD or whatever. Probably should have had Ritalin or whatever when we were kids, but we didn't. But
Very true.
But at the same time, like, you know, we think we know a fair amount about this. We're talking about this, and it sounds totally plausible, logical, and everything else. And there's some actually intelligent person that knows a lot about this that is just laughing at us right now.
Oh, they're for sure laughing.
I'm
their ass
assuming,
off.
like, you don't know shit about shit.
I don't know anything about anything. Like, it's literally everyone else in the world knows more about whatever it is that they know more about than I do. Might only be 2 or 3 inches, but man, is it dangerous.
It's only 2 inches, but it's fierce.
It's fierce, man.
That's an advertisement.
It has it is a fucking strive to live.
Boy, that.
Where did life form on this planet, Dave? The tide pools. 3 inches deep.
Oh man, that's double meaning.
Right?
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so second video was that the Rust video? No.
Second video was put the track.
Oh,
back
that's
on
putting the track back on.
the
That's
case.
right. All right, so did you ever find the lug nut? That's all I want to know.
I don't know. I did not find that lug nut. We could take some B-roll of looking around the yard.
We should do that.
The negative part is that we've mowed since then, so the
shit.
chances of that thing being
It's
fucked
embedded.
off into low Earth orbit. AB, I love you so much. It was the love-hate relationship that I have with that track. Is anytime that you're already doing something that you don't want to do is basically when you have the skid steer out in the mud. That's the definition of you doing. It's not best case scenario. You don't wait for the nice day where the ground's dry and you can go do whatever it is that you want to do pretty easy. Instead, it always slips when it's muddy because the friction kind of holding, all that is just friction. It's just tension and friction.
Yep.
And as that friction kind of goes, as you get deeper in the mud or whatever, the track slides off, you're fucked every time. And so that means that on top of a situation where you're already pissed off about what you're doing, you're more pissed because now you can't do it. And that skid steer's lost in the mud. It takes an hour to get it out of wherever it's at. And you got to drag that track back, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what happened.
That damn thing is a beast. I personally have seen it put through hell, and I've only seen a portion of it. But also at the same time, those tires are sad.
They're so sad.
That's even if they were brand new tires. The tires on that thing are sad.
The whole thing doesn't work. the entire idea of putting basically 4 skateboard wheels on something that weighs
That's legit though.
what, 10 tons? I don't know.
I don't know.
I doubt if it's 10 tons.
Probably
It's pretty
couple
heavy.
tons.
It's a couple tons.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be more than a car, right? And a car is what, 2.5?
Yeah, ish. Yeah, 2.5, 3, depending on the car.
So let's say it's 4 or 5 maybe.
Okay.
5 ton.
And
Fact
it's
check
skateboard
this.
wheels.
It's horrible. It's sweaty. You're hurting all over by the end because
About took down a tree doing it.
Yeah, man. Well, she's bending at least.
The whip's gonna get crushed.
We're gonna have to.
You can't. Let's. I'm gonna full disclosure this. I'm a husband and a father. I've got an SUV parked there. It is not a whip.
It's not. I like to call mine a whip.
You've got an actual car there.
Yeah, it's I got it for the fuel mileage.
They're like, oh, for sure, some young
Nothing.
3-inchers driving that for sure.
Nothing says disappointing in this sack like a bright color on your car.
But potentially supportive
You think so?
financially.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's fair.
I'm just, it's
No,
not
that's
like,
fair.
you didn't put flames on the side of it and you pretend it goes faster.
This is one of those two-way kind of thoughts. If you're the kind of person that's going to put flames on the side of their vehicle, total DB, then it is probably going to go faster over the lifespan of the car. in the capability,
Should be driving faster.
Yeah, the capability won't change, but yes, hypothetically, that car without flames would have gone slower than the car with flames.
But fair point, I would only put flames on the front of like a restored 57 Chevy.
Yeah,
which in
that's
theory
fair.
would go faster.
Okay, that's a reasonable point.
It's a shitty reasonable, point.
Oh my god, I saw a 95 Scirocco. I don't know if you get your
Scirocco.
A Scirocco. My roommate had one in college, and I love that guy to pieces. He loved that car to pieces. I'll never say a bad word about it. But that thing was a pile of fucking trash. Yes.
Was it red?
No, it was black.
Oh, it was black.
The one that I saw on, he had this thing where he was going to soup it up, and it was going to, because I guess they're reasonably good, light framed street racer kind of deals.
Really?
I don't.
Because, the only other time, other than when it was time for us to we would have actually seen those brand new.
Yeah.
The only time I've seen one of those is an episode of Hoarders. And it was just full to the brim.
Was it in the living room?
It was not in the living room. No, but it had part of his living room in it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's
Busted a tire.
fair.
And the guy came up to fix the tire, and he was like, you can't have that kind of weight in a car like this, bro.
It's going to blow it up.
And it did.
The suspension was just F.
It was shot.
It was so bad.
It was shot. This guy, thankfully, was a beanpole. He had to crouch down and knees up in the chest to get in it. So it kind of worked out for him. He was the least weight in the car.
Well, I can say this. It wasn't. I like that you had to reach less than I had to reach.
You're further away than I am.
Yeah, that's fair.
Everything's closely hugging me.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this subconsciously I'm retreating from this?
Are we going to get into the psychology of it?
Is it? I don't know. I just sat down here because this is where the fucking chair was. Yes, let's get into the psychology of it in the sense of, okay, what is the worth of analyzing a situation? How can you truly tell if somebody's in this situation, I sat down where the chair was at. How can you tell that
the chair didn't move once, so I wouldn't call it. You are leaning away from me, though, which tells me you're slightly homophobic.
I mean, does it...
You're not slightly homophobic.
I'm not slightly... I just say, does it change that I'm hard? Or?
But really? But no,
No.
But no, yeah. So if I didn't know you though, I might be yeah, he's kind of trying to shrink away. If I were doing an investigation right now.
Oh yeah. Well, see, that's the funny part about it is because
it's misleading.
I have a back injury.
Yes.
How, if you'll notice, when I always sit in a chair, I'll put my left arm up and then my right arm goes down because the more I extend the left part of my back
separate your
and
vertebrae a little
compress
bit.
that right, yeah, it feels like it helps. I don't know if it does or it doesn't, but
if it works in your mind,
no matter where I sit like this, I just switched it up. Now we're really close to one another.
We are really
now
close.
I am a little homophobic. I feel like I've never kissed somebody with a beard before. Would I like it, or would it be
Is
an
it
issue?
going to tickle? And will I feel bad about it the next day?
Or is it like Velcro? Would we get locked together and then we'd have to go in embarrassed to our wives and say we're always going to support?
I would imagine it's like Velcro.
God, I hope not.
No, but this feels really backwards, man. It feels so backwards.
No, I've
This
never seen
feels
you
right.
lean it. Well, in the last however many years, I have not seen you lean in that direction. So that's fair.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, so that's kind of one of those things is how much does a psychological analysis, just stomp on the physical reality of
confirmation? It's confirmation bias.
Yes.
It's 100% confirmation bias. And I've been a victim of that, in the fact that I've done it. And you feel bad about it afterwards, but it does happen. It's kind of like the misconception you get somebody who knows just enough to be dangerous about, whatever the saying is. Oh, if somebody looks down and to the left, they're lying, but if they look up and to the left, that they're lying, but up and to the right, they're remembering something that's real. Well, that's actually crap. So it's kind of like a lie detector test. You have to get a baseline first. So you ask somebody truthful questions, and you see which way they look, and then you ask them something they're going to lie about. And then if they do follow through with that lie when you know the truth, then they'll look the other direction. Then you can get the baseline, and then But it's not stuck one way. It's not left. It's not right. It's different for everybody. They could look down and to the left. They could look straight to the right. But you get that baseline of where do you look and where do you fidget when you're telling the truth, and then where do you look and where do you fidget when you're telling a lie. But you have to get that baseline first. There's no secret sauce. So
That's fair.
This is totally way off.
Yeah, it's largely off topic. But I think that it's really interesting because I think the foundation of looking up and to the left for a lie means you're creating something because you're using your right brain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that I can
It's
totally.
total falsehood.
It's complete bullshit.
It's absolutely it's made up by probably somebody who wanted you to not know they're lying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, really,
that's pretty good.
Like they're like making sure every time they think, I think it was last Tuesday, and they're looking off to the right.
Yeah. Interesting. Anybody with a neurological biology,
Criminal
habitual
psychology
something background?
Degree, you want to
Chime
chime
in. Down there.
Man, where he was pointing is not where you're going to put your comment.
Yeah, it's pretty much pointing to my. So, question right back to you. What did you get out of your first video on the hydroponic 5-gallon bucket setup? What led you to do it in the first place? You know, what's the story?
I love hydroponics. And I say I love it like I know some great deal about it, or I say I love it like I've done it. I haven't. I love reading about it. I love looking it up. I love the implications of it, and just the usability, just the versatility. On average, it uses like 10% of water of plant soil. And this is coming, like I had tried my hand once at doing microgreens. That is way more work. Dude, do not believe any video that you watch that tells you can make $10,000 a month by this super easy microgreens thing. Doing microgreens is work. That is a secondary job. And I never really...
Just because the maintenance and upkeep, or...
It's the schedule.
It's
the schedule. So... You have to be really caring. They're resilient. Doing microgreens. Say you get a bunch of like sunflower seeds in a pan, and I forget what those things are called, but basically like a plastic pan. Those things, whatever those things are.
Oh, just those are seed starters. But...
Seed starter. Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly. So you put them in there, and it's almost like you're going to germinate it, like you were going to plant it. But you take it a little bit longer than that and grow them a little past what you would actually plant them, and then you harvest them, and then you're done. And so one of the things that people don't talk about with microgreens, it sounds like this super like green initiative. It's wasteful. You ever had sunflower seed or sunflower sprouts?
No.
Or sunflower microgreens?
No.
Like I might make some at some point, like again, just to do it. They taste kind of almost like the actual plant, the little mini sunflower seed tastes like almost like sunflower nuts. It almost it has a nutty flavor. It's very pleasant.
The green itself?
Yeah, the actual green itself.
Is it a shoot, or like what? What does it look like?
It almost looks like a little clover.
Oh, okay.
And you just pop the whole thing in your mouth and you just eat it, and it actually almost tastes like you're eating this like really juicy sunflower seed.
Oh,
It's not exactly like that, but it's close
Right.
to that. And so it's very flavorful, and it's all the nutrients. It's all kind of it's condensed.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of benefit all in one tiny little bite. So that part's great. But the problem is you have to rely on somebody who is taking them full term to get the seeds, to get you the seeds. So your microgreens, you're putting, I can't even remember. I used to know this number, but you're putting so many in one thing, and they're all real close together. They're like that far apart.
Right.
And you just got this thing packed. And then you're...
Good night.
Apparently lost power on the secondary audio. Good to know.
But they're packed together.
They're super packed together. It's super condensed. But again, you're harvesting all those. You're cutting them off, and then they don't grow back. So you cut them off, you dump, you rinse and repeat. So you're just churning through what would be hundreds and potentially thousands of sunflowers to get these greens.
Okay.
So it's great for like a situation like you're selling them to a restaurant or a decent end restaurant that's putting them on salads and putting them on burgers or whatever they're putting them on. But you are wasteful when you do microgreens. It's 100% wasteful. Now, whereas you plant them and take them to full term, you can take them to full term, take the seeds, do whatever you want with some of the seeds, replant the other seeds. So that's the part
Makes
that's
sense.
like microgreens. No one talks about the fact that microgreens are just so wasteful. But so that's where I kind of got my start and my love of this stuff, and I was looking at how to do them hydroponically. And so I couldn't help myself, but all these like hydroponic setups were a little more involved. So I found a couple of schematics, basically, both in videos and just in document form on the web. And I was like, man, you know, I want to try one of these because I was just using soil when I was doing the microgreens.
Yeah.
And it, you know, the other thing about microgreens is you have to worry so much about mold. You got to keep air moving them over, and you can worry about that about other stuff. But because of the way you're growing them, and because of like just the way it's set up,
The
you got to
high
worry
density and everything else.
mold. It's wet and it just stays moist, and
That makes sense.
but you know, hydroponics just seemed like such an efficient way. And then I'm not gonna lie, when we were playing Division, I was looking at those setups and I was like, that was a real kick for me to go. I want to set up a hydroponic.
Yeah, they had a full hydroponic setup in that game.
And it was all PVC pipe, which is a legit thing. But it was all very costly. I mean, it was still inexpensive overall, but it was also very time consuming and kind of complex.
Much to your point in the video too, PVC is not food grade.
It can be.
Can it?
So yeah, I actually did some research on this. PVC, depending on the type of PVC, a lot of PVC is actually food grade.
Right.
So it's not like the normal plastic concerns.
Oh, okay.
Now, whereas like, so, you know, I did some research on this one for the bucket, and I found out, so regular Lowe's buckets are not food grade. In fact, they specifically say they're not. And then apparently in Canada, the Home Depot buckets are food grade by default, but in America, they are not. They are specifically, and it's in big bold letters, this is not food grade plastic. So the only place I could find them was Lowe's. I got BPA free food grade buckets.
Yeah, what the hell is the difference between a food grade 5-gallon bucket and not? Is it just BPA free, or is it? Well, no, because there was food grade and not food grade before anyone gave a shit about BPA.
Yes, and honestly, I kind of read about that, and I cannot remember the details on it off the top of my head.
Sounds like a follow-up video.
It does sound like a follow-up video.
Let's do that.
But there was this whole thing, and it was the same thing I was reading up that was talking about the difference between this PVC pipe is okay for food grade and water, clean water,
right?
And this one's not. And I can't remember the details of why it said one was the other. But you can have PVC pipe that is good to have that in. But and the thing is like a lot of people, you watch with hydroponic setups and even aeroponic setups, they're just doing it in regular like storage totes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, is it fine? And I think I even had that in my video. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's actually fine. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have to have a more solid understanding of what exactly a food grade receptacle is, as opposed to, like, it's got to just be that there are certain targeted harmful chemicals. And a Sterilite bin, you can tell from the smell, is not safe.
It has something to do with it. You know, it's basically like the breakdown.
Yeah.
But I don't know the specifics.
Right. It's going to degas shit and everything else.
I gotta piss so bad.
Enjoy.
Oh God.
Did you wash your hands?
No. No, but I got cobwebs in my face, and I'm like smelling my fingers.
Oh my God, I got lightheaded. I was laughing so hard I was lightheaded. I shouldn't have gotten up. And then I looked at that afterwards, and I thought, did I spell that wrong? Is it tacking?
No, you totally.
Yeah. Yeah. You.
Thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
Does that look okay? I don't know.
It looks like an Ed and Eddie hand. I like it.
If it was constantly wiggling.
Yeah, right. Yep.
But so anyway, so all this aside, like looking at all these setups, what I really wanted to set up the first time was an aeroponics setup.
Yeah.
And I kind of found out very quickly that I was like, I don't know that I actually want to do something even that complex because you have to get so much PVC pipe and tubing, and you got to get sprayers, and you got to get all this, and you got to get a timer for the sprayers. It's not even really expensive, but some of this I could have set up a few different versions, a couple $100 or so, which is fine. But at the same time, like the level of what I would have needed to put into it was not A, the time I had, and B, I think the time the average person has.
Right.
Especially if you're getting started.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to start, it's like anything else, you don't want to start too big.
Yeah.
And I think so I found this bucket after I'm looking at all this like aeroponic stuff, and I'm like, I can't find these sprayers. These are regular sprinkler sprayers.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me, I don't know where I'm going to buy them from.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't get those. I need like, for the setup I was going to do, I needed like X amount of 180 degree sprayers. I need X amount of 360 degree sprayers. Couldn't find any of them. And I'm like, except for this one place that obviously had like a huge markup. And I'm like, okay, I appreciate what you guys are doing.
It's a specialty store for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, no thanks. So I'm going through that process, and then I'm like, okay, I've got PVC cutters. I've got all this. I've got everything I need to do this, but it was way too much. And I was like, I'm not going to share that because the average person isn't going to do this.
Right.
And then especially, so there was an aquaponic, and again, with timers, I'm like, this is too much. But even the hydroponic setup, like, okay, I can set up PVC pipe, and I can have it at an angle, and I can have a pump, bring the water back up to the top, and then gravity will bring the rest down. But again, it's just super involved. The average person's not going to give that a try.
Yeah.
I found this bucket, and I had never before in my research of this found this bucket idea. And I'm like, this is literally a bucket and 3 or 4, depending on the size, or if you use smaller ones, even more, like net cups.
Yeah.
And this is a freaking air stone.
Yep.
And a cheap pump.
And a whole saw.
And
you're good to go.
And it was just like, this is it.
Yeah.
And it was good for me because I'm like, I now have a hydroponic setup that I plan on making another video at some point where I actually put something in it.
Right.
And it's like, I finally have one. And it costs me, if I would have already had that whole, which a lot of people have a 3-inch hole saw. I mean, that's a pretty
100%.
standard size.
Yeah.
If I would have had that whole thing would have cost me like $25-$30.
Yeah.
And, you can't beat that price. And I did it in, I don't know, an hour.
Yeah, no time. Yeah.
It was just no big deal.
I'm really curious what an everyman. So the next step is getting that, what you call it, rock wool?
The rock wool. I need to get the right size of rock wool. They sent me the wrong. I did put in the right one, and they sent me the wrong kind.
From the rock wool stage, including like what's a baseline level of nutrients. In other words, I am never going to be the kind of person that's wanting to raise plants that wants to know, okay, this is peas. It needs, peas. It needs X amount of nitrogen, or it needs so much ammonia, or it needs...
For the most part, I don't think
blah.
you have to do that.
Yeah, you just can add one general level of nutrients.
Yeah, there's
and
usually
then
like
pump it through.
part A and part B, and you put it in there in the right mix and call it a day, and just check the pH balance. And then, some people will go as far as they'll check they'll get, and you can get these off Amazon for like $20 a piece, like an actual particulate meter. That looks like you can get a digital particulate meter and a digital pH balance thing, and it'll check it, and it's actually pretty interesting.
Reasonable.
And then once it gets low enough, you're like, okay, I need to add more in it, or they'll just know I had X
the
amount for this.
Hardness level, right? Effectively hardness level?
It's how many parts per million of whatever's not water or neutral.
Yeah. Is that the same thing as hardness?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I do like looking occasionally at the actual definitions of some of these more technical words, right? Mm-hmm. And then looking up those definitions and think, fuck, I mean, I've used them directionally correct my entire life, but I had no idea the depth of what like a gauge of wire and how that relates to the thickness and why, US standard gauge system is the way it is, or because it's backwards from like the smaller
18 gauge is tiny and 4 gauge is huge.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
I don't. Again, it's another. It's a word that I've used, but I had no factual idea behind why it was called that.
It just is what it is.
It just is.
Yep.
Like the hardness in water. Like, oh yeah, hard water bad for appliances, and then you don't want to drink hard water.
Get soft water. Move on.
Yeah. Like I just understood.
So if I put salt here,
yeah, right. Then it's not hard anymore.
Neat.
And Anyhow, we're going to have to wrap up here. But, so what are you thinking in terms of what do we want to tell the people out there to say, you know, is coming down the road they can look forward to?
You can look forward to just us having a good time, being us, and working on stuff that we enjoy, and just that's it. And you know, it could be removing rust. We didn't get to talking about the rust removal.
Is that
the pitted?
the first thing we were going to talk about?
Maybe.
That happens.
But you know, it's, you know, whether it's working on a front loader, whether it's working on hydroponics, whether it's well, I'll let you speak to what I know you're working on next. But yeah, it's just we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna be working on stuff we were gonna do anyway, and hopefully it helps somebody, and hopefully, you know, some people get some laughs out of it.
Yeah,
that's it.
I couldn't agree more. I might, as a kind of a next step, try to look into some of the reasons as to why some of these things that I really don't understand do happen. Like, why does the torch help that rust breakdown? But in the end, I'm with you. We're making these videos because we hope people enjoy it. And the stuff that I was going to do anyhow, stuff we were going to do anyhow. And I think that's a great way to put what you can expect out of us. So, is that good?
Yeah. I love that. I'm just, yes, 100%. I'm just going to add, from us with love.
See you next time.
Peace.
Daddy, I see something.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I see. You can see a new little craft.